Good evening. It was supposed to be an adventure holiday, an expedition to the Arctic Circle, but it ended in tragedy when Horatio Chappell was killed by a polar bear.
But from the teenager's death, a powerful legacy has emerged as his family launched a charity to create beautiful healing gardens at spinal injury units.
The first in Salisbury has been a great success, and today plans were unveiled for another at Stoke Mandeville Hospital in Buckinghamshire.
In an exclusive interview, Horatio's mother, Olivia, has been telling Rachel Hepworth about her extraordinary son and how his vision is being realised.
He was really an ambitious boy, and he wanted to do things to make things better. He really felt things very passionately.
Olivia Chappell remembers her beloved son Horatio. He wanted to become a doctor and worked as a volunteer at the spinal unit here in Salisbury, where he found that patients were desperate for some outside space.
What he found was that patients wanted somewhere really beautiful. So something that was totally different to all the things that they're encountering in their long stays in hospital.
But before he could act, tragedy struck. In August 2011, Horatio was killed and several others injured after a polar bear attack during an expedition to the Arctic.
Anybody who's experienced a sudden death will agree that you go into a complete emotional shock situation. But very gradually you're able to process the grief in perhaps a slightly different way, and that you can hold on to the really good memories.
And it was the good memories that sowed the seeds for the Horatio's Garden charity. Led by Olivia, her team opened the Salisbury Garden in 2012. Run largely by volunteers, it's been such a success that they now want to do the same at Stoke Mandeville Hospital, transforming a tricky piece of land.
As a garden designer, I think this is the biggest challenge I've ever had. There are lots of site issues, and of course it has to be a beautiful space as well, in a way an escape from the very sterile environment in the hospital. So it's not just your average back garden.
But it's that escape that is a lifeline for patients like Demi and Liz, who both suffered life-changing injuries in car accidents.
When you feel like really down, because it's a life-changing thing, you know, and it's nice to just be able to go down in the garden and just sit there and think about things.
Because the dark moments, so you can think what you've lost, but then you think what there is in the future, and the garden here is so helpful for that. I love it.
The charity needs to raise almost £1 million to make Joe's designs a reality, but it's hoped that work will be able to start within the year.
I've always known the power of plants and nature and gardens, and I think that sort of dovetailing them in with hospitals is the future. I think Horatio saw that when he first went to Salisbury and saw that barren space outside the spinal unit, and hopefully, you know, we can do him justice here.
I think he'd be really pleased. Had he had the life that he'd hoped he was going to have, he would have made a huge difference to people's lives. And in this way, he's able to still do that, and I think he'd be absolutely thrilled.
Rachel Hepworth, ITV News at Stoke Mandeville.
And you can find that very moving story as well as the rest of the headlines here in the Thames Valley on our website, itv.com/Meridian. News updated throughout the weekend.